Today I'm going to be talking about a list of 9 things that, according to WebMD, if 5 or more are true, you may have video game addiction, in this case, Doom Eternal. Let's dive right in. Point number 1, thinking about gaming all or a lot of the time. Okay, we all love Doom Eternal. We've played it for the past 2 years, some of us have, and we really enjoy it. But the thing that you have to look at is this something that is negatively impacting your life? Are you thinking about it to a degree when you should be doing other things? Is it constantly on your mind to a level that you can't focus on anything else? How much mental real estate does this game take up for you? Are you constantly thinking about your combos or what you're going to do next? And it's good to envision these things, but when it gets to the point where it impacts and impedes on your life, that's where it gets a little rough. So it's a little more than just having a hobby, right? The second thing is feeling bad when you can't play. Now, we all have times when we really want to play Doom Eternal, right? I know I do. But I think there's a difference here in which you really feel upset, distraught, downtrodden if you're not able to get in the game. And again, I think it plays off of the previous point that if it's something that is clouding your judgment really hard and you really just can't focus on anything else but your feelings about like, hey, I need to play, I need to do one level, just one master level today, which takes an hour or so, let's be real here. But if that is something what you cannot shake out of your mind, then maybe it could become an issue. The next one is needing to spend more and more time playing to feel good. Now, this is super interesting to me because it's almost like it's diminishing returns or desensitization or something like that. Think about if you maybe used to play like 1, 2, 3 levels, something like that, and then just log off and go about your day. Maybe you even stopped mid-level at a checkpoint and just quit. And it was no problem. You could be like, all right, cool, I had fun today. I wish I could play more, but I have to go to work, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Stick around for that. But if you get to the point to where that does not satisfy you and you need to play more and more, like I have to play half the game, I have to beat the whole game in one sitting, or I don't feel satisfied, then maybe that could be something that you need to watch creeping up on you to see if it could potentially pose a problem. Which ties into the next point, not being able to quit or even play less. Now, I know I made a comedy video about this before because it really sticks through to a lot of us, at least to me it's true. But if you are not able to put the game down and say, okay, you know what, I have to go to work, I need to go to bed for the morning, as it is midnight as I record this. But the whole point is, to get a little serious here, is that if you cannot pull yourself away willingly, or this is really, really interesting here. If you die and you're like, I really have to beat this arena, I'm so hard-headed and I have to beat this next part, which I do that, maybe take a step back and look, is this something that I'm enjoying? Am I having fun still playing this? Or am I playing it out of obligation because I feel like that I have to? It's almost like the sunk cost fallacy. If you're not familiar with that, that's when you sink so much time and effort into something and it's just not working out. But rather than cutting your losses and just quitting, you keep on this thing, whether it's something like I said you put your money into or your time, because you've put so much into it that you don't want to give up what you've already gained. Hence, sunk cost fallacy, even when you know you should step away. Think about that one. The next is not wanting to do other things that you used to like. Ooh, any other hobbies, any other things like hanging out with friends, playing other games, do they just not have that same luster and that same interest to you? Now, I know I may not be a psychologist, but I do enjoy human psychology and why we think about things the way we do. So if you look at the impact Doom Eternal has had on your life, and you just don't find playing guitar fun anymore, playing an instrument, painting miniatures, whatever you like to do, if it just doesn't have that same shine anymore, and it's because of Doom, it may be good to take a step back and say, why is this way? Now this one's a really good one and it's going to stick true for sure. Having problems at work, school, or home because of your gaming. Maybe you go to school and you come home and you're like, well, I have like 2 hours of homework to do. I'm just going to play Doom till midnight and then we'll worry about the rest later. It's just my future. I'm not even going to worry about it right now. Or if you go to work and you say, well, it's 3 a.m., I want to do one more master level, I have to be up at 7, I'm going to be pretty tired. Or even at home, say your family is around and you completely are neglecting them in the name of Doom Eternal. Now, if you're saying, hey, well, they're all having dinner and this is our family bonding time when we have dinner together, maybe that would be something that you have to look at if you're playing Doom Eternal and ignoring everyone else and what they're doing, if they want you to be there and you're not. Thinking about how it impacts your work, school, and home life really is important when we take a look at this. And the next point, playing despite these problems. Even though you know full well that, hey, what I'm doing, it's an issue. And this is something that I have to look for myself. Like, I have the worst, I'm like literally the world's worst, staying up late and just doing whatever the heck I want because I'm a big kid now, right? Well, if you're knowing that these things are issues for you at work, school, and home, and you just put it to the back of your mind, you worry about it later, I don't care about this right now, then that could potentially be a problem because you know, but you still do it. And that could also be rooted in habit because bad habits will continue to push and make themselves known for sure. That's why we need to practice good habits. But it also could be rooted in video game addiction with Doom Eternal as well. So really think about, are you playing despite all of this stuff and all this other stuff that's happening around you that you need to address, but you just don't? Oh man, lying to people close to you about how much time you spend playing. Alright, I mean, Doom Eternal is an easy game to play for long periods of time. No joke. And it's a single player game for the most part. What most people play, at least that I see. But if you get to the point, and I think it comes to a deeper level, because if you play 8 hours a day, and that is too much for your given life situation, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever number you want it to be, and then someone asks you how much you play, and you're like, maybe just a couple hours a day, few hours, but in the back of your head, you know, like, hey, I am telling my dad or my mom or my brother, coworker, a lie, and you know the truth, but you still say that 2 or 3 hours or 30 minutes or whatever it is. One, because you feel bad about it and you don't want to admit or say how much time you really do play. Maybe you're ashamed of it. Maybe you just don't want them to come back at you like, wow, why are you playing a video game that much? Which, I mean, if you don't play games, it's kind of hard to really get inside the mind of a gamer, right? At least I think it could be. But if you do that and you really have to think like, hey, maybe I should tell the truth a little more, but I don't want to do that because I'm afraid of what they'll say, or I don't want to make myself look bad, or, oh, this one's going to be tough, but if you lie to them because you are afraid that you may have a problem with the game, but you just don't want to admit that to someone. Admittance, they always say, is the first step, but man, is it one of the hardest, right? At least I think it is. Being able to at least verbally say out loud, I have a video game addiction to Doom Eternal, is hard to do. It like seriously is. And I think it's not so much even just a pride issue that we have with ourselves. It's more of understanding like, hey, this is not something that I want to admit. It's not something I'm proud of. I hate it, in fact. And just to say it makes it real. It gives it that extra tangible feel because it's not just in our mind anymore. It's out loud for real. That is something that we have to look at too. Using gaming to ease bad moods and feelings. And the way I read this almost reads like a drug or something, because if you're having a bad day, you know playing games is a great escape to have. I mean, anybody would agree to that, right? Well, if you use it in a sense to where you have to have it to get out of that bad mood. If you have a rough day at work, you have to have Doom Eternal or else you're not going to have a good evening. Or if you say that if I don't play this game, it's going to put me in that bad mood. If I don't have my fix of Doom Eternal, if I don't have that fix is the way I'll put it, then it's going to make me feel bad. Please know through this whole thing that I'm not naming shaming or anything like that. I'm just trying to bring some real conversation to the table here because this is stuff that hits home to us. I mean, this is stuff that we should really think about when it comes to our video games and our playing. This coming from a guy who makes YouTube videos every day and manages it with work and home life, you know, being a husband, being a dad, which is possible with time management. But I think too, if we have 5 of these things, and it's WebMD, they're not pro gamer, MLG, MD, right? But still they are psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever you want to call it, psychologists. And they do reference the DSM-5, which does know a thing or two about the mental state. But if you do think that any of these impact you, link in the description below to this article that I have. Talks about getting help through cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, which is not what you think it is if you play Doom, haha. And check it out if you think it might help you out. And hey, if you got some time, check out the next video on the screen here about Doom Eternal Combat. Subscribe if you like this stuff. All right, my name's Allstin. Thank you for watching.